Chapter 2, Andrea, Friday, October 19th, 2018. I'm excited, exiting the trading post bathroom, leather wallet in hand, when I catch a sight of him. He's moving away from a set of cash registers with a green plastic shopping bag. He's a tall tree trunk of a man, strong and sturdy and almost heavy set, with a dazed scruff, a handsome boyish face, and good unkempt hair. Lance Peters. I look around me, thrown off balance at seeing him and feeling relieved. I was able to convince Max to stay in the car while I made this pit stop. I pause not far from the bathroom, unsure of what to do. He looks surprised when he notices me. I bet I do too. Lance and I go way back. We met in seventh grade, Traper Creepers, and all as teenagers. We shot guns on my family's property, went skinny dipping with our friends in Moonshed Lake, got drunk and a little handsy with each other in the long abandoned cabins at Lupine Valley, and recently we've reconnected between my trips to Boston. I can't say with complete honesty that I did not expect to see you in the camouflage walkie-talkie section of Drager Hill today, he says as he comes to greet me. His eyes are warm, but there's also something else in them, like he wants to ask me if I'm okay, but can't bring himself to do it out loud. It's been a little while since we've seen each other, longer than either of us would like to think. Me neither, I acknowledge, just in the last leg of driving up from Bangor. Had to take a break. But back on the road now. He turns his head in the direction of the exit, the parking lot. Like he's trying to catch a glimpse of someone. Back on the road now? I nod and touch his arm gently, bringing his attention back to me, away from the car, away from Max. I take it your professor or advisor guy, or whatever he is somewhere? A fine silken web of nerves flare, white hot in my body. He may try to play it cool, but Lance knows his name. Lance knows he's with me, so I nod. He takes a breath and places a hand softly against my ear and hair. Been able to sleep? As much as I can, I sigh, looking around. A bit. I know. I should go. I know I should speed this along and send Lance on his way, so I can get on mine, but being with him is bracing. I need it. Shotgun ammo? I asked, trying to squint and see the box marking through the bag. Yep, and plenty of it, he says, hands working the plastic bag to show me. I could at least for 5 or 6 boxes. Anyway, I should head on my buddy and uncle's. Mark were waiting for me in the truck. You're hanging with Mark? I asked, rattled. I swallowed and steadied myself. I know. He's a tool. He says with a sigh. He's a violent, drunken maniac. I correct, my blood boiling. I cannot believe he's hanging out with Mark, Lance, and the rest of his family have been estranged, estranged from him for years, and with damn good reason. I know, but he's my dad's brother, and Dad asked me to check in on the guy. My dad's been on me about it for months. I guess he's been a wreck since Miney left him. We're both quite sure Mark used to hit Miney, his long-term live-in girlfriend, but I don't say it now. I guess the guy is doing the 12 steps. Really? He's doing AA? My voice is filled with skepticism. AA is Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what he says. Well, what that's what my dad says, heading towards making amends, I guess. Blood flows hot into my neck and cheeks. I know. I know he's has a lot to make amends for, but he's trying. I'm sure we don't know the half of it, I reply, surprised at just how shaken I am, at how easily it's edging into anger. Well, if he keeps at it, we just might. Len sounds apologetic, somber. I look at him and know that he is sincerely torn. If he does or says anything out of line today, will be the end of me extending myself. That's for sure, I promise. I really don't want them hanging out, reconnecting. That would be for the best. Don't tell him you saw me. I want nothing to do with that guy. I cross my arms in front of my chest. I won't, I promise. He assures me, Seeing that I'm upset, I take a breath, settle down, recalibrate. You're fine. Hunting day? I say, change the subject. No, he replies simply. Not today. I nod, and we look at each other for a moment. Anyway, I should go. I'll see you soon. Then he hugs me tight, and I hug him tighter. Shutting my eyes for a moment, he smells like wood chips and faint cologne, and the faraway whispers of wood smoke. I wish he didn't have to go. I will see you soon, I say firmly. We release each other, and he looks down at me for the 6-2 advantage. I'm around. Let me know if you need me, okay? His hazel eyes are brighter and alert. Will do, I nod. See you later, he says. See you soon. And then he turns and goes. I watch him walk out of the store. He's hanging with Uncle Mark now. He hasn't seen or talked to the guy in 6, maybe 8 months. I take a breath, rub my eyes, get my bearings. Deep breaths, keep your head. When I look up, I see him. The other him, Max. When did he come in? How did I miss him? I wonder if he saw me talking to Lance. I wave behind a rack of rabbit fur snow hats. Max is gazing around, almost watchfully. Then he wanders to the far side of the room, to the modest self-serve coffee bar named Joe. I can see him, tempted, but he ultimately turns away, his face showing his disapproval at the offering. Only the best will do for him, unlike Lance, who will drink any coffee put in front of him, as long as it's not too hot to hurt him. But Max, he's fine-tuned. He's like a machine, particular and demanding. There is no denying this. He is not to be denied. In Boston, Max is an urban little Newbury Street prince, self-imported, handsome, fashionable. In the Druiger Hills trading post in Greenville, Maine, he's just another overdressed flatlander, and it's clear he doesn't understand his difference. It doesn't even register with him. He's not the most self-aware guy. The man is wearing a fitted black tee, and I know, cost him $75. He has a slick but excrated black frames. His dark wash jeans easily a couple $100 are bespoke. He's crisp, deep brown leather, Chelsea's boots on his feet. Designer everything about him is designer. Designed his clothing, his home, his reputation, his life. He has crafted it all with an almost religious egotism, with himself at the center. His own God, his own theology. He's that pretentious, a figure in a sea of large, thick men, wearing slouch-faded jeans and layered workman's flannels, stained with the proof of real labor, motor oil, tree sap, soil. But even I have to admit that for a man circling 50, Max is exquisitely lean and youthful looking, smooth and strong, nothing wasted. You can see it in the way he carries himself, like a lynx through the wood-planed snow showroom. I had been immediately reminded of his vitality in the most visceral way. When he reunited at the airport this morning, I was embraced by it. I hated myself desperately for it. I glanced around, not recognizing anyone else in the store, for which I am grateful. Max walks with his hands clasped behind his back, wondering at the Cambril, but tidy goods stocked all around him. I do my best to push Lance from my mind. Mark II. Max moves towards a display of hand-carved walking sticks. I make a casual beeline to him, forcing myself to clasp his arm gently, warmly, and a lover like a lover or a girlfriend, or a naive hanger-on is supposed to do. He brushes his hand across the box tops of some of the game cameras on display. Hey, sorry, there was a wait for the women's bathroom. I lie. I got bored. Thought I'd check this place out. He shoved his hands into his jeans pockets, shoulders high and tense. His eyes zip around us like a man being watched. I wonder if he didn't want to be alone in the car without me. Maybe he's made a talisman of me in these unknown territories. Ready to go? Just about. There's one thing I wanted to. He wanders off ahead of me, deeper into the store. He says over his shoulder, I was looking at them while you were in the bathroom. Maybe he didn't see me talking to anyone. If he did, he doesn't let on. Max walks hastily to the case of gleaming knives hugging the eastern side of the room. As I follow behind him through a cook stove display, the case cook stove display. In the case, I know are knives from gutting knives for skinning knives for deboning knives for butchering, capping, hunting, camping. There will be knives with clips points, drop points, and trading points. Knives with gut hooks. I know these arsenals intimately. If you weren't doing something in the woods or in the lake, especially as a kid and a teenager, there's never was much to do in these parts besides drive around Greenville or go up to the trading post and look around. I'd like I'd look at the rifle, duck calls, GPS devices, game cameras, survival guides, and of course, knives. I have hovered over the knives case many times in my life from the time I was a girl. The employee behind the display is farther down the case, consulting a tattered mane grazing, giving directions advice to some out of tower wearing stiff, expensive looking parka that may as well still have tags on it. I don't recognize the trading post employee. He must have started here within the past year or two since I've been mostly away in Boston, working on my MFA. I pull my hands up into the sleeves of my wool sweater, continuing to follow Max mindlessly investigating a shotgun display on the wall as I go. I look at the far end of the knife case and see the salesman has finished with his out of towner and is moving toward mine. Max too. My surprise lingers. He's taking in the array as the salesman comes to lean his palms on top of the case opposite to him. Also to my surprise, Max points to a few knives on display and begins to engage the man in conversation about them. I can't quite hear what they're saying over the chatter of other shoppers and the Bob Seger being piped in the overhead. I go over and join him, doing a little browsing. I ask, looking between Max and the 30-something man behind the counter. He's wearing a battered New England Patriots ball cap with a fishhook attached to the severely curled bill. Getting into the spirit for the 10,000th time, I am made to look at white made to look at Max's two white teeth, his dazzlers, the same immaculate teeth that I know want to pinch at my nipples as soon as he gets through the goddamn door of my house. He wants me. That's why he's here. After all, I'm not obvious. What do you think? I like those two. I look at him and see he is speaking in earnest. A knife. The Pacific Bostonia artist, the liberal academic. I realize he's not just admiring the lines, the craftsmanship. He means to buy one of these things. I'm irritated, maybe a little alarmed. I want to leave. I want to get him out of here. I have a tremble to keep to. I have a timetable to keep to. You're going to buy a knife? My brow creases as my gentle laugh trails off. Souvenir, he says. I look at him into I look at him into him and see he's serious. A slow creep of something like anxiety or excitement ripples through my body. I can't tell which. It travels from my toes to my scalp. I search his face, calculating what he may be sensing in this trip in the first place. In me. Why do you want a knife, Professor Durant? You'll have to mail it to me when I leave, since I can't take it on the plane. Gonna use it for anything in particular? Salesman asks, dragging his large hand down the side of his scruffy face, looking at Max without enthusiasm, ignoring me. The question seems to take Max by surprise, maybe just for the basics. If I ever got in a pinch, I need to cut rope or bush or something. I want to laugh at this. I can't imagine any situation in which Max Durant would use any sort of knife like this, in a pinch or otherwise. He's never done anything remotely handy or outdoorsy as long as I've known him, but mostly it's just mark mark the occasion. Yeah, okay. The man asks, seemingly satisfied. He looks at me with tired, hand dog eyes, and then he looks at Max. Up for Portland? Boston? Up for Portland? Boston, Max replies. The man nods, almost smugly, as if he heard everything he needs to hear. He turns his gaze back to Max, after letting his eyes linger on me with some curiosity. He's trying to place me, trying to tell if I might go be a local. I do not answer the tactic question. Well, so you like these two, huh? The man brings his face closer to the display glass and considers the contents of the brightly illuminated box. Then, of those two, I'd go with this one right there. He pointed to a beautiful switchblade knife with a drop point with handwritten tag as Falkenkniven scrawled on it. The blade is flawless, silver stainless steel, and the handle is sturdy and immaculate, banded with what appears to be ox hide. It's a handsome knife, almost like a sports car. The lines are sensual, the purpose ultranian, the potential deadly. You sly, woodsy little bastard is all I can think of. I start to laugh. Both men look at me, forget that, I say, unable to watch the fleecing of America. That's a $300 knife. You don't need any goddamn $300 knife. Max looks over at me, his face quizzical as if surprised he's being interrupted. I look at the man behind the counter, then down at the knives. Your other choice was the better, that the Buck Knives 279. It's versatile, it's sharp, it folds like the other one. It's $50. It'll cut whatever rope you want. The knife is mean and sturdy and strong. Looking at his black handle with an all-metal edging, Max looks at me with wonder and subterranean annoyance. I look to the salesman. Am I right on those price points? Well, I'd have to check, he says, figging unnecessarily as he pulls the knives out and turns over the tags. Scrawled on Falcon tag is 349. Scrawled on the Buck Knives tag 59. He's been in Boston too long, but not me. I blame as I clap Max on the back, looking at the salesman. Max seems displeased. I'll take that one, he points through the glass at the expensive one, the one that costs $349. The one it must be admitted that is more beautiful. The sports car. He looks over at me and in his eyes is something like spite. There's something telling me I had better never do anything like that to him again. I've embarrassed him. I I want that one. I'll have it. You got it, man, the salesman says. Want a carrying case for that thing like that? No, Max tells him, looking back at the clerk. I intend to keep it close. I look at Max's profile. He won't meet my gaze, but his neck has flushed red. I'll ring you up right over here. The man gestures at the cash register down at the end of the case, and Max walks away without looking at me. I push the sleeves of my sweater up to my elbows. I'm too warm. Max is buying a knife, a beautiful sharp knife. I'm sweating. The way he looked at me that barely contained contempt. As he leaves the register with his knife inside a paper bag, he gives me a smug smirk. It says, "Look at me, being a man. I'll have whatever I want, despite you." I fuel up my car at the gas station outside, and we get back on the road. I'm incredibly relieved to be putting distance between us and one of the region's biggest gathering places for the rest of our secluded weekend away. The odds of us running into anyone at all, let alone anyone who who would know me, is mighty slim. I watch Max's eyes looking intently at Trujillo Hill in the side mirror. As I pull away, maybe It's good we stopped there, despite the knife. He seems a little lost in himself. Good. I study him and wonder more than anything what he's thinking. He studied me with great interest while in his neutral habitat in Boston this past year. Me who still feels like a sketch of a person down there, not qualified, outrun, ragged against the city knitters. I like knitters. I like the dark and the quiet. Boston was never was neither of these things, but now I'm back in Maine, in the woods, heading towards Rockville, and everything in and of my body feels more substantial somehow, more three-dimensional and real. I have I have extracted Max and transmuted both of us so that he is one fading into the background, while I am living being of flesh and bone, fully rendered. He will drift and be drained without the city swarm of safe, glittering lights. He will be tied to me with no quirks, quirk exits on underground or road splitting trains, on planes or in lifts. It makes me feel witchy, disasterdly. As we cruise through downtown Greenville, I point out signs of the Kadachi Cruise steamboat tours of Moosehead Lake. Max asks if we could do one this weekend, and I tell him, sure, we could try. The foliage is always pretty in mid-October. Max pulls the paper bag from his pocket, then pulls his knife free. He turns it over, admiring it approvingly. What a thing, he says, with whistleless. I used to do little whip thing back in the day, you know, Volsky little prop pieces. He's in a good mood again. Did you? I laughed gently, genuinely tickled by the thought. It's just so down market for him. He flips it open, not smiling at me. Just little things for myself, my friend, and my friends, he says. I look over at him and then down at the razor sharp blade in his hand. We arc out around Moosehead Lake, leaving Greenville centers for the rural outskirts. Do you see many animals around here? Max peers into the quaking pines centered along the road. He flicks the knife open and close, snick, 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 not even looking at it, just something to do with his hands. The more he does it, the more anxious I become. Honestly, I wish he'd just put it away. And it's not the knife in and of itself that makes me nervous. I've been adept with knives from a young age, but a man like Max with a knife that makes me nervous. The scale between predator and prey tipping out of my favor. I can't have that. Not this weekend. Not now. From time to time, I tell him, a lot of deer, rabbits, turkey, that sort of thing. But there's so much land, sightings around aren't as common as you'd think. No reason to come near the road if they can help it. The openness of Greenville has left us. The trees now creep close to the roadway and block most of the sunlight. We're in some neutral timber tunnel. Snick, snick. He flips the knife open and closed. Then again, I look over and at the knife. Part of me still can't believe he bought it. Maybe by the end of this weekend, he asks hopefully. Maybe, I reply. We'll take a ride tonight at dusk along some of the logging roads and see what happens. I know a great spot. The drive is quiet for the next several minutes. The one sound of hum of the car over the asphalt and the snick snick of his blade. He's like a boy who's just discovered his own dick. Way out of way out here, huh? He asks. You grew up way out here, he says. The last part of it can't the last part is as if he can't quite believe it. He is putting me in one of his paintings inside a frame. He's making me a cameo, not quite real. Snick, snick. I look over at him, but he's looking out the window with intensity and focus. I see you, Max. I see you, Max sighs. I see it all in you. The wildness, the beauty. The more he talks, the more he tells me that I am, the more my muscles tense like poured concrete, hardening up. I look over at his fid- fidgeting hands, at the blade being unveiled and hidden over and over. Sleek sliding sound. It makes it makes again and again and again, warming into my ears. Snick, snick. My woman from the woods, hollow of myrtle green foliage, wilderness. No wood nymph, no. He laughs gently deep inside his own mind, an archer enrotted in the forest sap, green verdient lime, teal turquoise highlights, parchment to define the brightening tendrils, a smell glowing, hard. Outside of the chest like hulls, as if pinned in shadows of violet, a prism deep blue, my fingers are tense around the steering wheel. He has made me what he wishes, but I know it's not what I am. It's only in his mind, only ever in his mind. A Subaru with two kayaks strapped on the top passes us going in the opposite direction. Snick, 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 snick. Such a surprise to get an invitation up here to your world. My world? Max runs hands through his hair and scratches his jaw vaguely. Pensive again, some buried unrest seems underscored by the incense, flicking the knife open and closed. A weapon that could gut me like an animal. What a weekend will be. Yes, what a place. Snick, snick. I look over at him. He gazes interscopeatedly out the window. Fuck you, Professor Max Durant. Fuck you. There are several long moments of quiet and then snick, snick. Would you keep that damn thing closed? I snap. It's flashing the sun in my eyes, Max. We're both surprised at my tone. I didn't expect to be testy with him this early on. Maybe the stress of this weekend is getting to me, of what I must do. But it's also that he has the knife. I had not anticipated it. I look over at him. He folds it close, puts it in his pocket. His eyes appraise me. He's trying to sort out who he's in the car with. I so rarely snapped on him. Quiet settles upon us, and I can feel him growing agitated. His face is set, and I know he wants the uncomplicated fantasy black, his verdant archer, his wilderness goddess. I do not obligate immediately. I do not return his dream to him just yet because I don't want to. But after a few minutes, I'll relent. I don't want him to be miserable, or worse yet, to spiral into one of his moods. Not yet. The weekend is so young, and there's so much promise for what I could hold. Sorry about that, Aldi, he says, his voice strained with effort of playing nice with me. I don't like that nickname, Aldi. In fact, I hate it. He's the only one who calls me that. I let another solid minute or two pass in silence. Sorry I snapped on you, Professor. I am. That was out of line. I look over at him, my face seeming to plead for absolution. His face brightens bit by bit as my hardness recedes, as he pulls the apology, the angst from me. He thinks he's ranging the upper hand. He looks satisfied. I'm probably just a little tired, and well, I don't know, wound it up. My voice is gentle and cryptic, and maybe mildly flirtatious. I let him have this gift. A bit of that wolfishness from before creeps back into the lines of his face, the glint of his teeth. I relax there. He is the predator I'm fully prepared to face. How far to your place? He asks, shifting in his seat. Not long now. And that will conclude chapter number 2. I hope you enjoyed.